You watch the mainstream media, it is all Russia, Russia, Russia. Can't get away from it. Joining us now, Fox News contributor Bernie Goldberg. Welcome back, Bernie. It's always great to see you.
Good to see you, Stuart.
I say journalists are no longer journalists. They're becoming pundits, editorialists. Subjective, not objective. Blurred the lines between opinion and fact. What say you?
Well, unfortunately, I think you're right in too many cases. And I say unfortunately because it shouldn't happen that way. Look, I've been doing this for a while now, as you know. And here's my number one rule of thumb. Number one rule of thumb. The reader of a newspaper or the viewer of a TV show should never know how a straight news reporter thinks or feels about a controversial subject. Period. It's really that easy. They should never know how a straight news reporter thinks or feels about a subject. One easy current example. Jim Acosta, the White House correspondent at CNN. Let's assume he's a good guy. He loves his mother. He gives money to charity. When he was at CBS News, people liked him, and he was a good reporter. Let's assume all that. I've never had a conversation with him, but I know how he feels about the president's immigration plan, and I know how he feels about the president. He doesn't like either, okay? I know that by what I see. Now, he would say, I'm only asking tough questions. That's fine. Tough questions are fine. But he goes beyond tough questions, and we should never know how he or anybody else in straight news thinks or feels about subjects like that.
Bernie, we make no bones about it. This Varney & Company is an opinion show. I have an opinion on almost everything, and I express it, and everybody knows it's an opinion show. I'd feel better about the mainstream guys if they came right out with it and said, this is my opinion. I mean, I don't object to that, but don't fool people by making yourself out to be mainstream, down-the-line guy when you're not.
It would be more honest. There's no question about that. But it would also be the destruction of straight news. Because if, you know, I did straight news for many, many years. If I'm a straight news reporter and I come on your show and I say, Stuart, I know this is an opinion show. I know you have opinions. I agree with your opinions. I think this or I think that. Then you can't trust me as a straight news reporter anymore.
That is true.
Now, look, reporters, we follow the news. We read the news. We care about things. Of course we have opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is when you let the audience know what those opinions are. You can't do it.
It seems to me that the opinion expressed always in the mainstream media is having an impact on President Trump's standing. I see the latest Quinnipiac poll. He's only got a 33% approval rating. That's absolutely rock bottom. Yeah,
that's a good point. Look, I think especially on cable news, wondering what you think about this, but especially on cable news, you're either supposed to detest the mainstream media because of its biases or detest Donald Trump because of his shenanigans. I'm not a fan of either. I think there are way too many people in what we call mainstream media that are out to get this president, and they will not rest until they bring him down. And that is wrong as wrong can be. But on the other hand, I think this president does so many crazy things, says so many things that are demonstrably untrue, that he is pretty much handing them the gun and the ammunition and saying, shoot me, and if they're out to get you, don't give them the gun.
Yeah. Let me tell you where I'm coming from, me specifically. I support the president's growth plan. Don't necessarily support President Trump, the man, or the Republican Party. I support the growth plan because I think the most important thing for America is economic growth. That's where I'm coming from. Last 20 seconds to you, Bernie.
As an opinion journalist, I totally agree with that. If I were on this program as a hard news journalist, I would say, well, there are those who think that's a good idea and others who think that we should spend more money for poor people and a safety net and all that. I would feel uncomfortable being on an opinion show if I was expected to give my opinion. I'm not going to do that if I'm a hard news reporter. And too often it happens, and too often management of cable news operations and the New York Times and the Washington Post let it happen. They should say hard, fast rule. Straight news reporter, no opinion, period.
Good. Keep us all straight, Bernie Goldberg, please. You've been doing it for many years. Keep us straight.
Thank you.
Bernie Goldberg, favored guest on this program. We appreciate you being here, Bernie.